Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and I'm an attorney that assists dental associates with employment contract and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm going to talk about dentist employment contract review. So when a dental associate comes to me and says, hey, I have a new contract, I'd like to go over it with you. What are some of the key areas that we review, during my call with them? Well, first, compensation structure. For dental associate, this can be very important. Daily rates are the most common way of being compensated as a dental associate. Base salary, I would say not so common, or collections would be, I'd say, the second most common way of being compensated as a dental associate. Most contracts will have at least some kind of guarantee period, meaning, let's say for the first 6 months of the contract, the dentist will receive the greater of either, let's say, $750 per day as a daily rate, or 35% of the collections that's received on their behalf. And so that would be kind of a standard way of doing it. Now, some red flags as far as collections go, and this is, I'd say, in my opinion, a pretty big problem for most dental associates who just don't understand how it works. If you're paid purely on collections, so like let's say you get through that first 6 months, your daily rate guarantee is gone, you've transitioned to pure collections, you absolutely have to have language in your contract that states you will get credit for all of the collections that come in after the contract terminates. And let me give you an example. The average accounts receivable cycle for a dental practice can vary pretty greatly. Some are extremely quick in getting paid. I'm just like within the week. Others, it could take 45 days. Kind of depends upon whatever insurance that they're dealing with and what state they're in. But let's say you give notice and you're going to leave a job, and it says you get no percentage of collections after your last date of working there when the contract is terminated. Well, if the average accounts receivable cycle is, let's say, 45 days, and the practice is heavy insurance based, you've worked for the last month, all of that money is not going to come in until after you're gone, and you got no credit for it, meaning you almost worked the last month for free. So you want to make absolutely certain that there's language in your contract that states you will get credit for any collections that come in after the contract is terminated. 90 days would be about the minimum amount. I mean, the percentage of claims that come in after 90 days is very small. But just saying any collections that received is very important from dental associate. Another kind of compensation red flag would be making certain that once you give notice, if you're paid purely on collections, that your schedule will not be substantially reduced by the employer. Many times when someone says they're going to leave, the practice doesn't want to give them any patients because they're not kind of a part of the long term of the practice. And if you're paid on collections, your compensation in those last 60 to 90 days could go down to zero. So that's another thing to add to the contract that just says the practice can't substantially reduce your schedule once you've given notice. All right, some other things that we talk about: restrictive covenants. So non-compete, non-solicit, non-interference, just making certain that you're not going to be completely hamstrung in trying to find a new position if you leave. It's very important. Malpractice coverage. What type of policy do they use? Is it claims made? Is it occurrence? If it is claims made, who pays for tail insurance? That's another thing most dental associates don't have a great grasp of. Schedule expectations, emergency call responsibilities, making sure all of these are spelled out in the contract is very important. And then finally, termination. Most contracts have somewhere between 60 to 90 day notice, meaning if you wanted to leave, you'd write a resignation letter, and then you would have to work out those 60 or 90 days. And then, as I said before, some of the red flags with that would be if you're paid purely on collections, it can really, kind of cut down your schedule and not put any patients, and then you are starting to make almost no money for the last 2 or 3 months that you're working there, which obviously can be very frustrating. Last thing would be having to repay bonuses. Sometimes if you're paid a signing bonus or a relocation bonus, the practice will make certain that you have to stay there for a period of time, either 1 or 2 years, or you may have to pay back a prorated amount of the bonus. So that's something to take into account as well. Well, that's just a little bit about some of the things that I review with the dental associate when we're going over their employment contract. If you have any questions about an employment contract or independent contractor agreement, feel free to contact my law firm. All my information is listed below in the description, and I appreciate you watching the video. All right, take care.